This is a criminal case. This is United States of America versus Abdul-Majeed Marouf Ahmed Alani. This guy was a maintenance worker on aircraft, and he was unhappy with the terms under which he was employed. There was a contract dispute which was ongoing. And so he felt the best way to help advance his cause in a contract dispute was to sabotage a plane with 150 people on it. So we're going to read the criminal complaint, and we're going to describe how this is not going to end well for him. So let's continue. I, Jose Ruiz, being duly sworn, do hereby depose and state the following. I am a duly appointed senior federal air marshal with the Transportation Security Administration and have been so employed for 17 years. For approximately 12 years, I've served as a deployed air marshal on both domestic and international flights. Since May of 2018, I've been assigned to the Miami International Airport as a federal officer with the Federal Bureau of Investigation's Joint Terrorism Task Force. My duties include investigation of violations of federal law occurring within an airport environment of an onboard craft. I'm a law enforcement officer. The affidavit is being presented for the limited purpose of establishing probable cause in support of a criminal complaint charging Abdul-Majeed Marouf Alani, hereafter Alani, an American Airlines employee at the airport with willfully damaging, destroying, disabling, or wrecking an aircraft and attempting to do so in violation of Title 18 of the United States Code, Section 32. The statements contained in this affidavit are based on my own personal knowledge, training, and experience, as well as information provided to me by other law enforcement officers and witnesses. Because this affidavit is being submitted for a limited purpose of securing a criminal complaint, I've not set forth every fact known to me. I've only set forth facts known that I necessarily believe to establish probable cause. Again, as we said earlier, this is perfectly normal and routine. You don't want to necessarily reveal more than you have to, earlier than you have to. So, if you're going to get a search warrant, we just need enough to do that. If we're going to arrest you and we're going to say we have probable cause, just enough to do that. So this isn't telling you everything. It's telling you enough that you need to know. So what do we need to know? Inform us. As may be potentially surprising to you and is potentially surprising to Alani, Title 18 United States Code, Section 32 makes it a federal crime to willfully set fire to, damage, destroy, disable, or wreck any aircraft in the special aircraft jurisdiction of the United States or any civil aircraft used, operated, or employed in interstate, overseas, or foreign air commerce. And it makes it a federal crime to attempt to do so. So sabotaging a plane is illegal. Please take note. On July the 19th, 2019, the FBI was contacted by American Airlines corporate security regarding an incident of possible sabotage to an aircraft, further identified as an AA aircraft with a nose number of 3MW. The target aircraft is a civil aircraft in the United States and is used, operated, and employed in interstate and foreign air commerce. According to corporate security, on July the 17th, 2019, at approximately 8:39 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time, the target aircraft arrived at Miami International Airport from Orlando. With the exception of a minor maintenance issue involving a malfunctioning light bulb in the aircraft cockpit, there were no other reported issues with the aircraft. Approximately 2 hours after its arrival, the target aircraft pulled out of the Concourse D, Gate 49, for its next scheduled departure to Nassau, Bahamas. Thus, the target aircraft was set to travel in foreign commerce. Aboard the target aircraft were 150 individuals, including passengers and crew. Just prior to departure, the flight crew increased power to the engines to pre-position the target aircraft for takeoff. The action of powering up the target aircraft engines resulted in an error related to an air data module, which in part reports the aircraft speed, pitch, and other critical flight data. The takeoff was aborted, and target aircraft was reported to the MIA discourse for maintenance. Guys, I've had my plane delayed for often unspoken of reasons. I've been very frustrated. And, if I was traveling to the Bahamas, I might be extremely frustrated. This flight, we were just about our flight, we could feel our power being able to take off, and they said, oh, never mind, we have to go back to the gate. How frustrated would you have to be? What could possibly be the reason? Let's find out. AA mechanics responded to the target aircraft at Concourse D, Gate 48. The mechanics reviewed the error message displayed in the flight deck. They then conducted a visual inspection of the module inside the target aircraft forward electronics and equipment compartment. The forward compartment is accessible via a hatch on the exterior of the aircraft, in front of the news gear, and underneath the cockpit. An AA mechanic discovered a loosely connected pitot tube, which directly connects to the ADM. Further inspection revealed the ADM appeared to be deliberately obstructed with what appeared to be a dark styrofoam-type material. PET-O tube? Okay, fine. PET-O tube, thank you. The target aircraft was deemed not airworthy, yeah, really, and taken out of service for non-routine maintenance on July 17th at approximately 12:13. The target aircraft was towed to a hangar where out-of-service aircraft are repaired. The obstructed module was removed and replaced with a functioning module. After the obstruction module was removed, the aircraft was deemed airworthy and placed back into service at 4:12 p.m. So it was only out of service for 4 hours. But, so hey, I was only out of service for 4 hours and only 150 people were, impacted. So no big deal, right? Let bygones be bygones. On July the 19th, 2019, law enforcement reviewed video footage captured by a surveillance camera located across the taxiway. The camera provides a vantage point of the concourse. The footage captured what appears to be sabotage of target aircraft located at the terminal between 9:28 and 9:35. The surveillance footage shows an individual, later identified as Alani, driving a white pickup truck and parking it next to the target aircraft. The driver depicted in the footage appears to be male with light complexion and has a noticeable hip or limp to his walk. The male exits the vehicle and approaches the target's aircraft's compartment where the ADM is located. The video footage shows the male accessing the compartment for approximately 7 minutes. The footage then shows the male entering the concourse jet bridge using the outdoor stairs. After spending less than 1 minute on the jet bridge, the male returns to his parked pickup truck and departs the area at approximately 9:36. No, it was 150. It was 150 passengers and crew. 150 total. That was stated earlier. It's 150 total. That's the way, at least the way I read it. Notably, there were no previous reports of a mechanical issue requiring access to the compartment. Additionally, there was not a pending work order to access the compartment. Accordingly, the above described conduct captured was not authorized or requested. Well, that is a bit suspicious. There's no pending work order. There's no request. Why is this guy interacting with the exact area in which we found a problem? That seems suspicious. I don't know. I should look into that. Surveillance footage of Concourse D, Gate 49, from the Miami-Dade Aviation Department tracked the vehicle. In an effort to identify the driver and thus the individual who tampered with the module, law enforcement reviewed additional footage. The footage shows that earlier in the morning, the individual, later identified as Alani, walks with his limp towards several vehicles parked near the aircraft entrance. While walking, Alani is observed placing a safety vest on his upper torso. Guys, when you're committing sabotage, safety first. He gets into a white cab pickup truck and drives out of camera's view towards the concourse at approximately 9:07. AA management for aircraft maintenance reviewed the aforementioned surveillance footage and believed that based on characteristic walk, the male who entered the pickup truck was Alani. The surveillance footage shows the pickup truck traveled from Bay 1 to the target aircraft at Gate 49. The pickup truck arrived at approximately 9:28. Notably, according to management, Alani works in aircraft maintenance at the hangar at this airport. His maintenance work is generally limited to disabled aircraft parked in the hangar needing repairs. According to AA, Alani reported to work for his 10 p.m. to 6:30 a.m. shift. At approximately 6 in the morning, Alani began a second shift that lasted until 2:30. Alani did not normally work the 6 to 2:30 shift. However, he worked this shift because he switched shifts with another mechanic. Thinking ahead. This is what we call preparation in an attempt to commit a crime. Oh, we're thinking ahead. We're thinking about the crime I want to commit, so I need to switch shifts. That's what we call planning and preparation, guys. As with the surveillance footage, the surveillance footage shows the driver of the pickup truck, later identified as Alani, exit the pickup truck and target and approached the target compartment where the ADM was located. He's seen in the footage accessing the compartment for approximately 7 minutes. He then walks away from the aircraft and disappears from camera's view. At approximately 9:36 in the morning, the footage shows Alani returning to the same pickup truck and departing the concourse, utilizing surveillance footage from the cameras. Okay, just we need to break from this for just a minute, okay? This guy, according to this, was a maintenance worker who worked at this particular airport. Was he not aware that there were surveillance cameras? And even if you were like a complete idiot, wouldn't you probably suspect there are surveillance cameras at an airport? I mean, wouldn't that be the kind of thing that you would expect probably exists? I mean, I don't know. I'm just reading. I'm just reading the case, guys. What do you want from me? I'm not Alani, right? And the reason you know that is that I'm talking to you and not in jail. I don't think they allow live streaming from federal prisons. At approximately 9:43 in the morning, the hangar footage shows another employee, hereafter person 1, enter the pickup truck. Seconds later, the footage shows the second person, person 2, approach the pickup truck and lean into the passenger window. At approximately 9:44, the footage shows a third person approach the vehicle. The footage shows the driver of the pickup truck exit the front driver's side and greet person 3. The rest of the employees, including the driver, proceed to greet each other. Subsequently, the driver, person 1, person 2 are seen in the footage walking towards the hangar bay, entrance into the disappearing from view. The footage shows person 3 enter the pickup truck just as they had come from gate 49 and driven out of the hangar. Okay. On August 7th, 2019, law enforcement interviewed person 3. We have got just a couple questions for you regarding the sabotage. Yeah. That must have been a real fun conversation, I'm sure. Person 3 arrives to work through a hangar area and requires transportation to the terminal area. Typically, person 3 travels to the hangar from the terminal by asking another employee for a ride or by using a bus. Person 3 indicates he rarely drives himself to the terminal. Accordingly, person 3 is able to recall the last time he drove himself to the terminal was sometime in July 2019. Okay. He explained that for approximately 2 weeks to a month before August 7th interview, he received a vehicle from Alani, which he then used to drive himself to the terminal. During the interview of person 3, law enforcement showed person 3 the AA footage described showing above. Person 3 identified the driver of the footage as Alani and further commented on the distinctive walk. Person 3 also identified himself, person 1 and person 2 in the footage. Person 3 identified himself getting into the vehicle as driven by Alani and driving it out of the hangar. Okay. On August 2nd, 2019, law enforcement interviewed AA person number 2, who works in aircraft maintenance at the hangar, with Alani. During the interview, law enforcement showed person 2 the footage. Person 2 identified the footage as approaching the pickup truck and further indicated that he was almost certain that Alani was the driver of the pickup truck that he approached. According to person 2, as he leans into the passenger side, he proceeds to have a conversation with Alani, who's still the drivers of the pickup truck, about why Alani needed the vehicle when they have different trucks assigned to them. It's a good question. Hey, incidentally, why aren't you in this truck? This is not the truck we usually use. Good question. According to person 2, at this point in the conversation, they see person 3 approaching the pickup truck, and Alani comments to person 2 that they could give the vehicle to person 3, consistent with the conversation. They show person 3 entering the pickup truck and driving out of the hangar. Okay. On August the 4th, law enforcement interviewed AA person number 1, who works in aircraft maintenance with Alani. During the interview, law enforcement showed person 1 the footage. Person 1 identified himself, person 2 and person 3. Further, he identified the driver as Alani. Some pretty good evidence against Alani. Is that where it stops? Of course not. Interview of Alani. The cops just had a couple questions for Alani. On September 5th, 2019, law enforcement interviewed Alani in reference to the aircraft sabotage incident. Alani identified himself as the driver of the pickup truck depicted in the surveillance footage. Additionally, Alani admitted that he accessed the ADM in the target aircraft forward compartment. He further admitted that he inserted a piece of foam into the inlet where the line connects and that he applied super glue to the foam so as to prevent the foam from coming off. Alani stated his intention was not to cause harm to the aircraft or its passengers. Alani further advised that he had accessed the EE compartment and tampered with the ADM. He went up to the flight deck of the target aircraft to check on whether the target system detected the tampered ADM. He went, okay. Alani explained to law enforcement that he was upset at stalled contract dispute between the union workers and American Airlines, and this dispute had affected him financially. Alani claimed that he had tampered with the target aircraft in order to cause a delay or have the flight canceled in anticipation of obtaining overtime work. Okay? Witnesses identify Alani, an American Airlines employee at the airport who was working at 6 to 2 on the shift of the day in question, as the driver of the pickup truck. Further, Alani identified himself as the driver of the pickup truck. Your affiant submits, that would be me in this context, I, the person writing this, your affiant submits that Alani is the driver of the pickup truck. The law enforcement tracked using the surveillance footage. This footage shows the pickup truck leaving the hangar, parking at the concourse. The footage shows Alani exiting the pickup truck, approaching and entering the compartment for approximately 7 minutes, leaving the concourse and arriving back at the hangar. Further, Alani admits to tampering with the aircraft. Based on the foregoing, I, the person signing this, submits there's probable cause to believe that Abdul-Majeed Alani willfully damaged, destroyed, or disabled an aircraft in special aircraft jurisdiction, and any aircraft used, operated, or employed in interstate, overseas, and foreign air commerce, and attempted to do so in violation of federal law, and I have nothing more to say on this issue. Well, I'm just a simple country lawyer, but personally, I do also think that there's probable cause to think that he might have tampered with the aircraft, given, the mounds of evidence against him. So, good. So the man wanted more overtime. And I have good news. I have good news. The U.S. government is going to ensure that he gets plenty of time. I am quite sure. And, this is anything he's been charged with. And right now, somewhere in Miami, in the Southern District of Florida, there's a grand jury sitting somewhere. There's a grand jury sitting somewhere trying to figure out what other things to charge him with. So this is the start. This is the start. But it is not the end. And Val Gamer points out, just be happy pilots use checklists and watch gauges. I am happy that they use checklists and watch gauges. He tampered with an aircraft with 150 people on it in order to get more overtime. That's probably illegal. Just, I don't think you need to a massive insight to say to yourself, people sometimes complain that the law is so complicated that, they can't get noticed. But, I think that most people can probably imagine that it's illegal to tamper with an aircraft that's about to have people take off on it. That strikes me as the kind of thing that you don't need a lot of insight on. So, whatever. Anyways, that is the story of Alani, and someday, at some point in the future, he will spend some quality time in a federal facility, I am sure.